Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ireland Collection. The reason why I'm smiling so big is because I was like, I got 5 weeks worth of material. I don't need to worry about recording. I can record anytime. Now my 5 weeks have run up and now I gotta start recording. So get ready to see this t-shirt for the next 5 weeks. But anyway, today's prompt was from my best friend Luke, and he said to watch X-Men. X-Men is a movie that I'm not that attached to, but all my friends are. Kirk, Anthony, Luke, probably everybody who's watching this video at this moment loves X-Men. This was back in the day when movies were event films, where it's like you go to the theater, you watch it once, and that was it. And then you wait for the sequel. And then you go see the sequel and you're like, oh, that's good. And you never watched it again. I don't know, there's like a little period of time where I did that.
Yes, of course.
But then, you know, the MCU happened and every movie was just more content. Feed me. But back in the day, it was like you look forward to these things. I didn't get the DVD of X-Men 1, 2, and 3 until 2009. And I'm way into high school at that point. I'm graduating. And the reason why I got the trilogy box set, I think, was because X-Men Wolverine was coming out. So they had the trilogy and it was like $13 or $16. I was like, damn, that's a good price for this. Oh my god. I never remember the exact plot of this. Even though I see them all in the theater, but like there's no lasting power. It's like I have to rewatch these.
But I've never seen anything like this before.
I want to talk about why it is important to me and why it is in the collection. I went to the drive-in to see this with my cousins. It was raining that night, and I believe the double feature was X-Men and Me, Myself, and Irene. So it was raining, and we had like a little makeshift tent and whatnot. We're watching the movie, and it opens up in the rain at the Auschwitz scene. And that just made it feel so much more immersive because we're in the mud. We're not really in the mud. We're sitting like on a towel or whatever. But we see the movie and he's like reaching out like, ah, no. And then he like breaks the fence and it's really cool. I'll always remember that. That to me is a great movie memory because it felt so immersive to watch X-Men at the drive-in because it was like the raining scene and we were in the rain. That felt so cool. Cut to 20 years later, Luke's asked me to watch X-Men for the show. So now it's like, okay, I got a different pair of glasses on. I got little Batista glasses from Blade Runner 2049, right? So I'm watching X-Men, and it's such a breath of fresh air. Because we're so used to these MCU movies where it's like content, feed me. A little bit of improv cut with action, improv cuts, you know, it's all that stuff. And they don't take the movie seriously. They always go like, you know, Dr. Octavius, like Dr. Octopus, or like, oh, thank you, Spider-Man, or, you know, with Scooby-Doo this shit. It's like, they don't take it seriously at all. What I appreciated about rewatching this was that they took the subject matter seriously. There was like only 2 moments where I was like, okay, that went too goofy, and ooh, they kind of made fun of themselves. And the one where it went too goofy is when Wolverine's on the motorcycle and he hits like turbo fast or whatever, and it goes, a little too goofy. That is too much. Because pretty much the movie takes itself pretty much seriously. And then the part where it pokes fun at itself, where it's like, oh, you didn't need that, cut that out. And it was the part when Cyclops is like,
what would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
You were doing such a great job, you didn't need to do that. But, you know, it was the early 2000s, you got to do like a little poke at yourself. Movies used to have a nice, you know, balance of taking itself seriously and having the right stakes, and I feel like X-Men does that perfectly. It's a breath of fresh air. It's ridiculous how, like, you know, after 10 years of watching the MCU, watching this, it just feels like, oh my god, like it's almost like a bucket of cold water in your face. Because, like, it's not world ending. The world is not ending. The city is not being destroyed. All it is an event on Ellis Island that's going to get crashed by Magneto. It was a simple plot. Like, they didn't go too crazy. And, like, the biggest thing about this that made me just go like, oh my god, that's filmmaking. That's almost inspiring. How did they do that? It was Mystique's costume, the makeup design of Mystique. It was so like, whoa. It felt like actual movie magic. Like, how'd they do that? I felt like George Lucas was like, how'd they do that?
How did they do that?
It looks so real. It doesn't, like, they knew right where to put the fake patches of, like, you know, scales on her and her eyes and her hair. It just looks so real. And just like the little set pieces they have for each character, I feel like every character gets to show off their power in some way. You have Jean Grey, you have Magneto, you have Wolverine, you have Sabretooth, Toad, and then They had a little problem with Storm. They couldn't give her a cool line, but they gave her moment, which I appreciated. And then little Cyclops, he gets to do his thing. Bzz, bzz, bzz. That's so cool. And then even like at the end, you have a little Rogue saving Wolverine. It's wonderful. It's great. And then, or I should say, vice versa. see, the plot's already gone out of my head. I've seen this like a week ago, and it's already leaving me. And the thing I also liked about this movie is that the Stan Lee cameo is not like, oh, look, it's Stan Lee. No, it's actually embedded in the background. Like, it's almost like a Rick Dalton point moment rather than a, look at me, Stan Lee. It's like, oh my God, I think that's Stan Lee. That's great. I love cameos like that. That's wonderful. I think they should do more of those nowadays. Where it's just like, is that who I think it is? It was more rewarding. Like, oh yeah, there's Stan Lee. And it wasn't like, oh, here's Stan Lee. Everyone applaud, woo-ha, you know. And also, you know, hindsight's 20/20, but it's so sad to hear Wolverine say,
Come on, I'll take care of you.
because you know now in 2023, nobody's safe with Wolverine. That fucking guy's like Sidney Prescott. Like, no one's safe. I appreciate Luke suggesting this to me because it was just like a little window of that era when movies used to be event films and how I was immersed in the drive-in. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Luke, for suggesting this to me. And if you haven't watched X-Men in a while, give it a rewatch and then rewatch the trilogy. And if you're really up to it, check out the First Class and all that stuff. Those are wonderful too. Those are in my collection. Thank you guys for watching my X-Men review. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Click the like button. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of the video. Also, leave a prompt for the next week's video, or upcoming video, I should say. Because remember, I said next week's video, but everyone's like, you know, Page Master, tell me about the Page Master. It's like, hang on. I pre-record these. So leave a comment down below, and I'll get to your prompt as the weeks go on. So thank you guys for watching. See you next Monday.
We are the future, Charles, not them. They no longer matter.